So, my YouTube MCN hasn't paid me for months. I know, a YouTube MCN hasn't paid a YouTuber. Wow, where have we heard this meme before? Well, first of all, there's a few problems with the discussion, and I didn't realize this until I spent a long time doing things outside of YouTube. But a lot of YouTubers that discuss the business don't really have any business sense, and in fact, I'm pretty sure a lot of people just don't even read the contracts. For example, a guy I know who's a millionaire that I spoke with was telling me that maybe my YouTube MCN network is just being lazy. Ah, yes, normal people with normal jobs. I bet when you hear that your boss isn't paying you on time, that he's just being lazy and he'll get around to it. Obviously, this pissed me off for multiple reasons. If a business is having payroll issues, you don't say, oh, maybe they're just being lazy. They'll get around to it when they can. Being lazy with payroll is how you get sued, and everybody knows that. Now, it was at that moment I thought to myself, oh my god, this guy that I'm speaking to that has millions of dollars in his bank account is not only not a well-versed, socially adjusted adult business person, he's a rich idiot who got extremely lucky. So, I got no help there. Now, there's no reason in hell to ever think missing payroll is due to just laziness, and we're talking about a business that operates in the millions of dollars. This should all be automated for them. This should just work. If the money stops coming into talent, well then there's an issue. Something is wrong, something is broken. Okay, so what is a YouTube MCN? A multi-channel network is a company that gets a corporate AdSense account, and you get signed on with this corporate AdSense account, which is a little different from what you probably thought it was, and a lot of people don't really seem to understand how it works. And I'm not even sure if I'm correct, but I did read a lot of the fine print, so hopefully I'm getting somewhere. Then again, I also don't have access to my contract right now. Okay, so they have a AdSense account, all the money goes there, and then after it all gets put in the big AdSense account, the company does payroll out of that AdSense account. There are a few other things that they usually do, right? Because they have special relations, so their ad rates are better, and they can be more particular with who they sign on, so that way they know that they're not going to be a problem for that AdSense account. From what I was told, and speaking with people on the behind the scenes business, whatever cut YouTube would take is already taken out way before you become a part of that math equation. The money in that AdSense account is one part of what an MCN does though, right? So for example, they can use these funds in venture capital with creator businesses, they can get into esports, manage brand deals, there's a lot going on. The idea is that the money in this AdSense account is one portion of how these businesses make money. And again, you're not going to be getting the 70-30 with them. You can negotiate a better rate. That's really the main reason you'd choose an MCN over YouTube. That's kind of the only reason that should matter before anything else, along with the contract not being doo-doo poo-poo. But the thing is, with MCNs, you can negotiate a better rate, which I did a long time ago. I had negotiated a better rate. In this instance, I'm incentivized to stay with them because I make more money with them than with YouTube AdSense. Now, there are other reasons that YouTubers go with or stay with MCNs, but in the business sense, you know, the real dollars for donuts equation here, I'm concerned about the money aspect, better rates. So the question is, how are they able to do these better rates? Because this business brings in a ridiculous amount of money from its talent, and again, as I said, they do other things. These other things allow them to have a cash flow where they're able to do these separate deals with creators. Plus, they want to get the big names. That's what helps legitimize them in this business. Ultimately, if I needed to quantify this as anything, I'd probably explain these businesses in a certain kind of way. And that way would be tech entertainment venture capital, which is, needless to say, I'm kind of using it as a pejorative, as many people have used venture capital as a pejorative before. The field of venture capital is this high risk, high reward type thing. You know, the purchases and acquisitions are common, which is what happened in my case. as far as I know. There were multiple acquisitions that happened at the company, which makes trying to piece together what exactly happened with my company kind of complicated. Okay, so here's what happened as far as I'm able to tell. The company I'm with was acquired, and when that happened, the management shifted. And then, all of a sudden, a little while later, monthly payments stopped rolling in. I stopped getting payment reports as well, because the help email that doled these out closed. Okay, so I went to the website, and the help email on the website is also closed, and the people who I knew that were partner managers at the company were no longer at the company. It was about that time I also stopped getting paid, by the way. The company that acquired them has also been in the ass end of rumors regarding not paying esports athletes. So apparently the issue is much deeper than it seems, but I have no way of proving that. There's just discussion on the internet in disparate group chats of creators and professionals who haven't seen a paycheck. Now, in October, things got really bad and it got really quiet. Basically, all communication stopped. And then I come across this article on their website, the new website of the parent company that owns the company that I'm with. And that was only thanks to the Little Guys Incorporated news team, but the article is as follows. Enthusiast Gaming announces intention to voluntarily delist from NASDAQ, end quote. That might sound like nonsense language, but oh no, let me tell ya. First off, the pandemic had a lot to do with this. You might have seen that a lot of these tech companies are starting to lay off a bunch of people. In particular, you've probably seen quite a few gaming and tech layoffs, for example. And I really don't think it's a surprise that we're starting to see a lot of these people be let go in 2024, as the whole online tech market has kind of quieted down and the winners of that race have been decided. There was even a quote. Quote, as previously announced in its press release dated May 4th, 2023, the Listing Qualifications Department of NASDAQ approved the company's request for a 180-day extension to regain compliance with NASDAQ's minimum bid price requirement under the NASDAQ Listing Rule 5450A1, parentheses, the bid price rule, end quote. Man, talk about a mouthful that is, by the way. I'm having a hard time keeping up with words like that. Talk about a $20 word salad. Basically, I looked up this rule. It's literally about the floor price of the securities with the NASDAQ. So Enthusiast Gaming, the parent company, was having a hard time meeting the, quote, minimum bid price of at least $4 per share, which is really low. So if they couldn't beat that, that's not good. So if you look at the Google stock analytics, it gets a lot easier to understand. In fact, I think it's quite hilarious, the bump into stock followed by the absolute downfall it had later on. And again, by the way, I should mention, none of this is financial advice, right? I mean, look at that. In December of the pandemic year, the rush of retail investment, all of that, I mean, of course it was going to peak that year with a stock like that. I just think it's incredibly interesting that that's when it peaked, because it really does make sense in the long-term story of this. Now, in the company's defense, they argued they delisted to avoid basically clerical fees associated with the NASDAQ. But I mean, most normal people would look as being delisted from the NASDAQ as a horrendous outcome of a company. They also had a CEO resignation in January. This January. And most creators also can't seem to get in contact with any staff. In fact, I don't know anybody who works at the company, which, by the way, this parent company we're talking about is not even the name of the company that I signed a contract with. It's Omnia Media. It's a completely different company, as far as I knew, but apparently they're owned by these people who are owned by a capital firm. Okay, so what's the point of me saying all this? I'm reliant on this channel, the streaming channel, for the time being, as well as fan funding via members and Patreon. I mean, I don't really want to panhandle, but they're withholding an obscene amount of money, okay? Like, it's ridiculous how much I haven't been paid. I won't say how much I'm owed, but it's more than one digit, that's for sure, okay? It's definitely a life-changing amount of money for me, right? As someone who has done much bigger videos in the past 2023. I should also mention I pay contractors to help with my videos, and I made sure that despite not being paid, that I paid them first. My Illuminati videos were expensive. I paid like 30 bucks a month for half a year and then some. Honestly, I think I spent around like $200-300 just to stay in that Discord server for as long as I did. I also have a writer who helps out, as well as artists and editors, so I can maintain a level of quality. It's all, you know, contract work, and I've paid everyone back, but I can tell you, as videos got more and more complicated, I rely on them doing well to recoup the cost that I spend in making those videos. And to answer that question right now, I have not recouped the cost of any single video I have worked on, including the Mama Max video, which is something I haven't been paid for yet, but given that I get paid for the previous month after, I'm not even sure if I will ever get paid for it. Not to explain my home life, and I don't really want to talk about it because it's quite embarrassing, and in a way I am kind of begging, but this is like the worst time for this to happen, by the way. I hope this is all something I can talk about more plainly later, as it's having a toll on my mental health. But this came at the worst time. Omnia Media not paying me now has been absolutely horrendous. I needed that money for safety and security. Now, I'm not some talentless NEET. I'm looking to just get a IRL job to really just navigate this shitty time. However, I should also mention I'm not some fucking moron with a YouTube channel who's gonna delist from the channel and just, you know, let them run off with my money, right? So I'm not going to let that happen. Which is why it's been so frustrating that most of the time, everyone I've spoken to has been like, cut your losses, which is, you know, really easy to say when you make a stupid amount of money. And if it hasn't been obvious enough, I don't make a stupid amount of money. So needless to say, I'm examining my options to pursue my back pay. Not to mention, I had a call with CoffeeZilla about this roughly like 2 weeks ago now. He and Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers are both well aware of how bad this entire situation is. Like, you don't understand. The company we're talking about here, the MCN we're talking about, is not some quick flipping money company with some guy living in Belize. This is an agency with multi-million subscriber talent, with deep pockets and tons of staff. A lot of them aren't smart talent, by the way, but, you know, this is looking like an issue, in my opinion. I'm supposed to get paid for October in February, okay? Which, by the way, I was not given that information via official channels. That was via the grapevine, thanks to a Discord message from management to a much more successful talent member of the company. It's ridiculous that I had to find out this way through a Twitter group chat. It doesn't make any sense. The lack of communication about funds this late in the game is absolutely outrageous. In fact, some people just never got contacted at all, or got contacted through Discord or disparate channels. It seems completely disorganized. By the way, I also can't use certain features on the website that I used to be able to use. And another thing, this MCN also offers Epidemic Sound, which is a sound stock library service. If I leave them, I need to pay for that subscription, or Epidemic Sound will rightfully claim the videos as I no longer have a license with them. It's a cost that I'll eat for sure, but one I certainly don't want to eat. So roughly that entire thing would cost me $25 a month, or whatever the yearly cost of that is. I'm not particularly worried about paying for that, and I understand that's the cost of doing business, but to put it lightly, they've basically fucked me. And I plan on doing what's necessary to ensure that I am paid my dues, so I will be looking into things. So subscribe, join Little Guys Inc., and if you're just a main channel watcher, you can fund me on Patreon. I can't offer anything other than a coffee discount, but my coffee is also pretty preem. But yeah, I did want to explain what this was because I roughly touched on it in the Mama Max video, and it kind of needed a further clarification as this stuff is quite complicated and also kind of dry. So, you know, if you don't really care about this, fine, but I need to get it out there because it's not just affecting me, but it's affecting tons of other people. Womp womp, you probably noticed the video's still going after I recorded all of that. Anyway, yeah, here's what happened. Payments have started to come in again, being multiple months behind. I haven't been paid for the totality of 2023, and based on my contract, they can kind of drag it out. I think a main issue here has been the lack of communication from corporate down to the people that they pay, and I assume that there might have been issues with employees as well, since, I mean, I haven't been able to get in contact with anybody, and a lot of the contact that some of the other creators have gotten has been lackluster, to say the least. It's a little frustrating because I kind of feel there's a mix of creators not understanding how business works and then also just not caring because they're so breaded that they can afford it. But I actually kind of relied on it, but whatever. I'm not going to get into it. It's frustrating and stupid and yada, yada, yada. We live in a society, something, 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 right? Anyway, so what's the plan moving forward? Not that any of you cared. Basically, I'm going to de-link my channel from the MCN. The process is like already underway, but you know, it takes a while. In the meantime, I've basically been living off of savings and donos that happen on this channel. Hopefully in the next 60 days, I'll be in the partner program. 30 days for me to be de-linked and then 30 days to get into the partner program. That's a tentative timeline. I'm not necessarily sure, and it could vary significantly. My next investigative piece is coming out soon on the main channel. And I'm gonna have to do it all through fan funding, I guess. I don't know, it's been really frustrating, and like many a situation before, I kind of feel that creators dropped the ball with this one. I'm still waiting for payments, and I assume and hope that these things are gonna come through, but I could be waiting upwards of 2 months or more. I mean, it took months for me to get paid for last November, which I just got paid for at the beginning of February, so I am not holding my breath for quite some time to get the last of my 2023 payments as well, all the way up to, you know, these last recent months. So I'm just going to cut my losses in the meantime. And yeah, I could go after the income, but the thing is that I'm just too small, and many of these guys, in my conversations, kind of put their hands up and go, I don't want to deal with it, which is not how real business owners work, but I'm not in a position that I can try and galvanize the YouTubers to a class action or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of my position now, and what I'm gonna do. It sucks. It's lame. It's whatever. I'm gonna start a ASMR channel because the stream girlies say that I would be great at it, so I'm going to do that. Anyway, let me know what I can do on Patreon. Alright, bye.